All right, Jay, we're recording, and just to go over that, this is going to be public, it's going on YouTube, you have signed a release form. Thank you for being
Mhm.
super timely on that. I think you got yours back in first. So this is a clarity session that I do often. It usually runs 45 minutes or so. And the reason I wanted to do a whole series and put them online is because I believe that too much coaching and therapy happens behind the scenes. And we've developed this concept that we're all out here suffering alone. And having to talk things through with just one person and not knowing what makes a good session, what makes a bad session. How would you even know? Because in the olden days, we would, talk around the quilting table or talk while cooking dinner or meet in the village and talk out conflict. There would be times where you would see things, see transformation happening, and I just feel like that's not happening enough. So,
Mhm.
appreciate your courage. So tell me where you're at today. So before the camera started rolling, we talked a little bit about how um, you don't like getting emotional, but you have your tissues with you.
Always, always.
Yeah, and there's stuff in your form about relationship, communication, feeling alone, things like that. So
Mhm.
just jump right in and you tell me, and then I'll stop you when something happens.
Okie dokies. So at the moment, and I've more consciously been trying to work on this since the beginning of the year when I joined the nervous system writing bit,
Yeah.
is my capacity to communicate. So, from a business point of view at the minute, I'm massively frustrated. I've got skills, things that can help people, and those that have come in have had like some real big changes to their well-being.
Okay.
They're just very few,
Yeah.
because there's no marketing going on. There's no like I've got these things, and yet I can't talk about them, put them out unless somebody comes into my space. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So
it does.
it's probably more
If
sort of
you
the
get
whole,
approached, you're fine with it, but the idea of having to generate people, approach
yeah.
other people is wrong.
So it's more like the social media side of things,
Yeah.
talking to the ether, I call it, just like put it out there. Um, and um, and then when we did the incarnation cross revisit last week, and like that is my purpose. no, no wonder I'm frustrated. My purpose is, the ability to translate complex stuff into understandable things. In
Yes.
my case, it's more about the transference of letting people know that there's another way, that their well-being doesn't have to be like this. Just because the current paradigm of the medical model is like this and they're not getting the change doesn't mean that they can't have a change. Um,
Okay, I'm going to
and
stop you there
well,
because as you're talking, I start to feel like tension right here in the back of like I can feel my throat starting to tighten. And so when you have evidence that people benefit from your work. You have receipts, like you can show, you can demonstrate. So what about getting clients to have a conversation with you, see if they're, a good fit or whatever? Um, what about that? What stops you?
you mean like post session, like
And
asking how was
is
it for
it
them?
just no, just like talking about what you do so that people can see you and book a session with you? Is it just online or does it happen in real life too?
Um, just no, not so much on in real life, because normally that's because someone's asked me a question. And once someone's asked me a question, I can go from there. It's almost like it's got their, because it comes from them and it's got their context on it. And as soon as I know where they're at, I can talk it to their situation, their needs.
Okay.
Um, and I can, tell them about some clients that I've already worked
Yeah,
with that
you
have
tailor
passed
it to
it.
them. Yeah.
It's the it's almost like not having the question or the spark. Like sometimes I've had a ping moment and gone, oh, that's what I need to write about. And I've gone to
Yeah.
start to, and I get like two paragraphs in and the momentum just like stop.
Okay.
So I've got
Okay.
lots of like started segments for a blog. Uh,
Okay.
but that's as far as it goes.
You can take those started sections and just clean them up and write an intro and an ending and just post short
Well, I just
posts.
have the intro. That's all
Yeah.
I've got.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's
Just
almost like
post
it
the intro.
becomes so big. Does that make sense? When I've not got the anchor, the hook on it, or the anchor on it,
Yeah.
I can't see how I can't put it into these small segments. I sort of see it as this big, how it all connects and all winds into itself and things like
Okay.
that. So yeah, it ends up being this big essay. So my
Okay.
notion was, and it ties in wonderfully with what you mentioned when we did the Incarnation Cross. I'd come across a lady. She's also a line 2-4,
Okay.
um, and has been doing this thing about being discoverable rather than visible. And I was like, that's perfect. I write these
Yeah.
blogs. When I'm ready and it feels good for me to do, I put them there. And when people are ready to find them, they will find them. And
Yeah.
funnily enough, it happened on the nervous system stuff. It's happened before on other things, but it's
Okay.
also happened since I joined doing our current work together. And all of a sudden, I've got this website that just sits there and has had like tumbleweed running through it. I've had 4 inquiries in the last like couple of weeks since I registered, and we've started going through that process.
Okay.
So yeah, stuff needs to be on there because clearly when I'm doing my mojo, it works.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions. Have you tried voice recording, like speech to text writing instead of hands-on keyboard writing?
No.
Okay, that's one thing to do. One thing to try
Hmm.
is uh there's nothing wrong with long, big, long essays. It doesn't have to be short.
Mm.
And you can take a big, long essay and make it short. It can be
Hmm.
a part one, two, three, four, five. You could do a whole series.
Yeah.
So as you're writing, so you start writing and then you stop yourself.
Just so the first thing that pointed when you mentioned about the speech to thing,
Yeah,
um, my brain just went, but as it does.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
um, yeah, and but um, there's the inspiration to start with. Um, and it just runs out. I think then I start to get the whole like, well, who the hell's going to read this?
Yes, you stop yourself.
Who's
The
interested? Yeah, so
information
I'm
doesn't
stopping
dry up.
myself.
You close
Yeah,
the door. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like I'm bored writing it. They're not going to be interested
Yeah.
in reading, or I
Well,
get bored
yeah. I mean, we get bored writing it. And certainly I get bored of talking about procrastination and the nervous system and stuff. I get bored to tears of it. But the other person, the other people don't. They aren't talking about it 24/7, thinking about it 24/7. Like that's not them. And like you said, like you put stuff out there and then people find it when it's time for them to find it. But it has to be there to be found,
Mm-hmm.
to be discoverable. That's such a great word. So, um, so I'm hearing, let's address two issues. So we have speech to text, and then we have, I don't know how to stay consistently inspired, and I start writing and then I slam the door shut on this piece of things. Okay, so the nice part, I mean, there's ChatGPT can be problematic in a lot of ways, but it can be very helpful for that kind of thing, needing a question to draw the information. So you can put in there, hey, here's my subject, and I'm bored to tears with it, but my clients need content on it. Could you ask me 5 questions about this topic?
Mm.
And then it will give you a bunch of questions, and then you answer them.
Yep.
here's another prompt. You're my ideal client and you're this age and you're struggling with this and you've tried this and this and you're kind of at a loss of what to do. What kind of questions would you ask me to get help? And let it ask you questions from that perspective. And then that will trigger the informational flow, right? Because it's the question that triggers the flow.
Needs
And
the
that's true for a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was just going to say it's like I need the conversation, the back and forth, yeah, to be able to.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a really nice thing about ChatGPT is you can do a whole Q&A session with it.
Mhm.
And you can take that and you can almost take it verbatim and write a Q&A session about it. You can ask it to write a frequently asked question section to put on your website. Tell it who it's supposed to be, give it all the details that you have, and then say what kind of questions would be frequently asked by my ideal client. Give me a list with
Mm,
the questions and the answers. And then that you'll have to edit because it will just parrot. It
yeah,
will like repeat itself and churn out some good stuff, but some garbagey
where you
stuff.
can train it to kind of come back with
Yeah,
your.
you can train it to get, and it will get better. But it still sometimes will, I mean, you just have to edit it to make it sound like you, to um, find where it's repeating it, saying it looks different, but it's actually just saying the same thing over and over again. You're like, okay. And then sometimes you can just tell it, you've given me some garbage answers here. Try again, and it will get better. So treat it like an intern. So but if that process is not on your calendar, it's not going to get done.
Mm.
Do you have an appointment with yourself, a standing appointment with yourself to write content?
No.
That's okay. Most people don't.
No,
They
it's all right. I
don't.
know it.
Like most people don't.
Number of times I've been suggested to do a
Yeah.
default diary and just I
Yeah.
just hear the words and just go, "Ugh,"
Yeah.
you know what
Yeah.
I
How
mean?
come?
Yeah. It should be Mondays. Mondays is admin day in theory.
Yeah, me
I can
too.
do other things.
Yeah. So when we think I have to write content, what about that makes you think?
I have to.
Yeah, you have like that rebel reflex. Yeah.
And when you were talking about, I could feel myself just
Yeah.
going,
No, I don't want to. Um,
just
yeah, so that rebel, have you ever taken the four tendencies quiz?
no, I've not heard that
Have
one.
fun with that later today. The four tendencies by Gretchen Rubin, Rubin. It will probably be no surprise to you that I tend to attract a lot of rebel people. Like
No, really? I
Like we
don't.
don't nobody's going to tell us what to do, including ourselves. So we have struggle. So some tricks to get around that is to issue it as an invitation, build in a reward. Bribery works. Remind yourself of how amazing it feels when you work with someone. They come in a state and they leave and they feel good and they have hope and they're the beneficiary of the magic that you bring to things and how good that feels. The ticket to that feeling is content.
Mhm.
So playing with making it a game that you play with ChatGPT can help
Mhm.
because then it's like, well, I wonder what it would say. I
Mm.
wonder I loved working with this person and I wonder what's going to be next for her. And I wonder how she's doing. You may know these things, but just thinking about them, like how good that felt and how much you love working with that kind of person, and then taking that to ChatGPT for a game.
Mm.
Um, it
Fun
has
and
to be
games
fun or
is
you
a
won't do it.
yeah. Fun and games is a frequently emerging subject right now.
Yeah.
Topic right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. It has to be light.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do, and I do this a lot, is I speech to text on my phone laying in bed or sitting outside, or I will write while watching TV.
Mm.
So over, I have an L-shaped thing here, so I have my little office and then the kitchen, and then there's like an extension off to the right where all the TV and books and stuff are. So I like to sit over there on the floor and write at the coffee table, and watch TV. So probably you can split your attention that way, and it makes it feel less like school.
Mm.
Like,
What?
great, now I got to sit and do my homework.
Oh, oh.
Like
So
a
mentioning,
punishment.
huh?
Like you're being punished.
Um, Not so much that was so I attempted a PhD.
Oh, you did? God, you're so brave.
Thank you.
A lot.
Because it didn't end well. Um, and part of that was where it finally kind of came to its emotional conclusion, was in the writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've not really written since, which the irony being prior to that, I really like writing the thesis for my undergrads and stuff like that was always in my own sort of my own work as opposed to the essay that I was given to do. That was where I really enjoyed, felt I excelled, was my
Yeah.
the thing. Um, and how much of that harks back to like the blocking, the to that point, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense.
So you're just saying school.
Yeah.
Mm. So I
Yeah.
enjoyed school. I was a
It
good girl.
can't be forced, and it has to be reframed as a gift you give to others.
Mm,
The content is because we know what it's like to be all alone and suffering and not know what to do and be totally lost inside and spinning,
mm,
drowning.
mhm,
We know what that's like. And I think we're similar in that if we've done the suffering and can save someone else that kind of suffering, then the effort is worth it.
mm,
Like some people will say, I had to suffer, so you have to suffer. And I think we're more like, I had to suffer, so let me help you not have to suffer.
mm.
Right?
Yeah, it when people are in well, as soon as I'm in a situation where someone's in discomfort, I'm immediately like, can I do something? Can I,
Yeah.
like have to, and then
Yeah.
and also when you started to mention about do I shut myself down talking like in face-to-face situation? No, but what I've had to learn to do is back off when because I would get really annoyed. It's just like, well, people. So I've got clients from classes that I teach, movement classes, and they come up going, I've got this problem over here. What do you think I should do? And then you
Like,
think, well,
here's my booking link.
yeah, I've got this thing. It's really helpful.
Like a
Oh,
doctor.
yeah. Oh, okay, thanks. I'll think about that. Like, I don't understand those. One of my frustrations is when there's an issue, I don't understand why people don't do anything about it.
Oh, I know. It's the
I'd
bane of
be
my
like,
existence.
I'm here going, I've got issues. I don't even know what my issues are, and I'm trying to do something about them.
Right. Yeah. There's action takers and contemplators and a lot of
Yeah,
people, and there's the chronically complaining contemplators who
yeah. It's
who
them, isn't it? It's their identity. What
yeah,
are they?
the
They're not
the fun
peaceful.
is in the complaining, not in the healing, not in the fixing. Whereas for other people, the joy is in the fixing, the resolving.
Mm,
And everybody comes to things at their own times, and we just don't know what's going to pull the trigger for people. Um, but I wouldn't entertain that more than once. If you've given somebody information and they don't act on it and they come back at you with the same or slightly a slight variant of the
frequently.
previous question, you could
Yeah.
be like, hey, remember last Tuesday? when we talked about that. What do you remember about that conversation? And put it back on them or tell them to book a session. And if you're going to have to listen to it again, you need to be paid.
Pay for it, yeah. Yeah, no, better, way better at just going, I'll leave that with you.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's
they're
good.
not like, don't know, latching onto it at that point. It's like, well, I'll leave that with you and then.
Yeah, that's a good way to say that. So,
Mhm.
how do we get content creation or a chat GPT session or something on the books for Monday for just a half hour? You can
Mm.
always do more.
Yeah.
Or, what's going to work for you? 15 minutes, a half hour?
Um, I got to give it a go, at least half hour, haven't you, really?
And I feel like a half hour is reasonable. Like we can
Yeah.
do anything for half an hour.
Yeah.
And to make it even less of a setup for headbutting in your own self, you just have to show up for half an hour.
Mm.
If you write something, you write something. If you don't, you just sit. You can't do anything else. Like you can't bring your phone and play mahjong or whatever on your phone while you're sitting. You have to sit with your computer or your notebook, however you write, and you have to sit there for 30 minutes. But if you write something, great. If you don't, you still kept the promise to yourself, and
Mhm.
that's valuable.
Yeah, that's been um, not necessarily in this type of thing, but in other parts of life in the last year or so, like the showing up and then doing what you saying you're going to do.
And stay in
Yeah.
integrity.
Thank you. That's the word I
Yeah.
wanted. Yeah.
Integrity, treating your time as valuable. Because if we're not treating our time as valuable, none of our clients are going to treat us as about our time as valuable either. So your time is sacred, and to get to be alive and to get to mine your past for, I just call it like to sift the jewels from the ashes of your past.
Mhm.
That's a privilege and a gift, and other people do benefit from that. So treating that time as sacred and just do your best. So you can be strict about showing up, but George Cow says this, he's a coach I like. He says, be really strict and disciplined with yourself about showing up, but be flexible about the outcome.
Mm.
Some days you're just going to sit, and in that 30 minutes, you're going to realize you need to have a good cry. And just sit and cry at the computer.
Yeah.
But you kept your promise. You stayed in integrity. You did show up.
Yeah.
And more often than not, you'll get started and you'll easily write for 30 minutes, maybe more.
Okie dokies.
How does that feel when you think about that? And can you do that today? Well, it's kind of late. It's 3:30 for you.
Um, it doesn't have the with
Yeah,
it, if that
it's
makes sense.
the collapse.
I
Oh,
can still
yeah.
I can still hear a few,
Yeah.
but yeah, it feels a lot more. Don't want to say doable. That's not quite the right.
Feasible?
Yes, feasible. That's better. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's
Just
check
thinking about
that
what comes next.
box. And if you don't do it today, can you put it on your calendar for next Monday?
Hmm.
Okay.
Put it on the calendar for a different day this week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. And then find if you can, a standing appointment time so you start to train your body, like you're training your nervous system that this is actually fun, that this then goes on the blog. And the second someone leaves you a comment, it's like, oh, thank God.
Mm.
I'm so glad I wrote that. Like it's such a nice little dopamine reward. So that will help. Okay, so we can check that box. And then what's happening when you're in that flow and then that voice is like, what are you even doing? Go eat something.
Go check your emails. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what's happening? Don't know because you mentioned flow and don't even quite.
Well, tell me
Almost
about
like
the
it goes.
last
It
time.
goes like overthinking.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like
Yeah,
really making it too um complicated,
yeah,
it ends up weaving around. So I've had things that I have written, this is going back quite a while now, but things that I have written and then I have repurposed them and they've ended up being one, two, three. So they're all similar themes, but
yeah,
maybe something slightly different.
yeah,
Uh,
that's great.
yeah.
When was the last time you started writing and it was just kind of pouring through you? Never?
Some, I wouldn't say never, but it's been certainly before the PhD, because even the stuff that's gone out has been sort of hard worked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was probably as an undergraduate, so we're going
Okay.
20 years, a little
Okay.
more.
Let me ask you this then. Who's your favorite person to help?
Um, got a feeling, but not a.
That's okay.
Um,
What's the feeling?
at the minute, it just feels like my chest is trying to reach out,
Yeah.
like I'm looking for someone.
Yeah.
Um, I suppose it's more of a general, but it is the person who has had something, pain, discomfort, long standing for a really long time.
Okay. So chronic,
Uh,
chronic
and
stuff.
chronic, yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
shorten that.
Yeah. No,
Why,
that's okay.
why
That's,
use 10
that's
words
my
when
job.
sentences are available? And then, yeah, so something that's chronic, they've maybe got to the belief that it's not going to change. I've just literally spoken to a lady that left me a message this morning. Um, and consultants basically, or the pain management clinic, whatever, has kind of gone, it's not going to change. You're going to have to live with it. And I'm like, no, but um, yeah, when they have that sort of final kind of like ping that it's different, it can change. I've had one chap describe after a session when I followed up with him, and he just says the difference is like night and day.
So you like giving people hope?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because if I'm hearing from someone I perceive as an authority, and we do perceive medical people and
Mm.
experts, we see them as experts, we give them our
Totally.
power, we sort of, well, we don't sort of, we do view them as the authority. So
Mm.
someone saying to that is like, I'm going to feel hopeless, I'm going to feel defeated, I'm going to feel like I've wasted all this time and energy, and now how the hell am I going to get through life now with this thing that
Yeah.
just almost is unbearable to me?
Mhm.
So that moment when their eyes change or your heart expands and you see that they're like, oh, it's possible. I maybe, their hope comes back. That's your favorite moment?
Mhm.
Okay. So how many blog posts could you write about that? Don't believe what they're telling you.
Yeah.
There's always hope. 3 ways to know that you may be giving your power away to an authority. 5 ways to take your power back from the system. How advocate for yourself. Here's how to do it. Here's the questions you need to be asking. When you feel hopeless, here's what you do with that. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah. Um, perfect sense.
So you can write for days and speak to that exact person that you love, helping them turn it around. And the feeling you have in your body as you're doing the writing is you're addressing where they are and you're giving them hope.
Hmm.
And you can write forever about that.
Mm. So that's interesting. Well, part not the bit's interesting, but the my head went, but what are you going to say? What do you say? But my sway was like,
You
you know
totally
what,
know what to say. So
yeah,
how come
that's
you
what
have
it
a
is.
voice? You're my favorite client. Like you and Matt, like I don't have not favorite clients because I
Yeah.
run them off. I don't I don't want to work with non-favorite clients.
But this is the
You-
thing, isn't it? So,
yeah,
so far, when I've been encouraged to devise an avatar type ideal client situation,
how
at
annoying.
first,
I just hate that
um,
exercise.
it's been like, they have this problem, they have that problem. They kind of do, but I've never been able to just pinpoint down to a back pain issue or this or that. Or when I have, it's just felt really, ugh, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's too
Um,
restrictive.
yeah, but the hope, if that makes sense, that
Yeah.
that tag that encompasses all issues.
You don't want the person who's searching for a solution but hasn't hit bottom yet. So they're just kind of shopping, because those are the people that don't take action, right? They're so annoying. You you come in, they take your time, even if they pay you, it's annoying because you like to see people get transformation. Yes?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So you kind of want those hopeless people. Because they're ready to act, right? You don't want people to be hopeless, but you want people who are taking action. So if we want to add that to it, like your ideal client is someone who's ready to listen and take action and prove it to themselves. They're ready to get into motion. You don't want the people who are solution shopping. This pain has become part of their identity. They may be getting public benefits, so it doesn't, in their head, it doesn't serve them to get well. I don't know if that happens it happens here. Like people don't want to get well because then they're going to get cut off from what they've,
Yeah, I wouldn't probably say that's maybe a conscious decision, but it's certainly there's a lot of
it's
people
not
sitting on the
conscious.
line
Yeah.
basically that,
Yeah.
are really going to fall off the line in the next year or so.
Yeah. Yeah. So your ideal avatar has tried enough things and failed at it that they're ready. But even if they haven't tried 14 things, as long as they're ready, that's the determining factor of who's fun to work with and who isn't.
Mhm.
They're ready to move, they're ready to go. It's not embedded in them. They don't like this identity of being chronically injured or whatever. They don't like that. They want something different and they're ready to work in collaboration with you to get it.
I know certainly when I started the process of um, learning the cranial sacral therapy,
Yeah.
that's what they said. You will be people's last port of call. They've tried everything else before
Yeah.
and when they come to you, you're like, well, I'm doing this other thing, but it's not. So
Yeah.
that fits with that
Yeah.
notion. I suppose it kicks off the fear in the sense that what if I am just another person that's not helped them?
Well,
Um,
that's not on you.
no,
Yeah.
I know, and then that comes
Yeah.
into my love of give me all your responsibilities. I can take it. I can do it.
Right.
Um, and
Yeah.
open head,
That's
open wheel,
okay.
away we go.
There's plenty of people that will come to you when you let more people know you're available. And honestly, the writing and the blog posting and the things like that, that's for you
Mm,
and the random person that finds it because you're a 2-4 in human design. You talking about these topics that we've just discussed, you writing articles about giving your power away, not speaking up. How many people go to the doctor and the doctor says something and they don't speak back to it?
mm,
They don't be like, well, yeah, that's actually not what I meant, or that's not what it. No, that's not what I said. Like they don't come back at authority figures. So you can talk, and women are the worst about it. So you can talk about all these topics about empowerment, self-advocacy, hope, um, even physical things they can try. But that does serve people who find it. But the larger layer of services to you, because that keeps those topics and that hope and that wisdom active in your energy field, which draws people to you. You like light up
Hmm.
in the ethers. You are a blazing light of hope for people, and they will come to you and they'll come through the people you know, right? Because for fours, it's like, yeah, you
Gotcha.
have you inner circle, but your best clients often come from the next layer
Yeah.
behind those people and then behind those people.
I
Yeah,
mean, word of mouth would be
totally.
the ideal, you
Well,
know.
that's what works for when a four is in alignment, they don't usually have to market like, but the writing and the putting the content out there fills your field. It lights your energy up so that that networking process works faster and smoother. It's for you.
Hmm. Yeah. All that has just played into another conversation I've had in the last 24 hours. And going back to my reading last week and the
Yeah.
recognition. And
Yeah.
when I recognize myself,
Yes.
then others will recognize as Mags's wisdom from the morning.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. Oh,
Um,
there you go.
and that's how I mean, that's a perfect demonstration of generator strategy is you think about it, talk about it, and then here comes comes right back to you. You're seeding the field.
Hmm.
You're giving life an opportunity to mirror back to you what you're saying. So you get these reinforcements like, oh, I was just talking about that over here, and oh, I was just talking about that over there. And then you get to sit with your sway and see if it's for you. Is that right? Like, don't take me and our word for it. But if your body's like, yep, that's it. That's it. I got to fill my field. I need to create that content for me and for the people. Eventually that becomes a book. Eventually that becomes speaking engagements, opportunities to go speak to pain medicine clinics and say, hey, how about you fuckers stop telling people there's no hope? How about that? Can we
Yeah.
try that?
Just there's no hope in the realm that you live in doesn't mean there's not no hope
Right,
there.
exactly. Like, stop telling people that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really frustrating. Um, yeah. Well, I can feel like yeah, all down the front. It's does that make sense? It's not
Yeah.
like a deliberate like sway type thing, but it's like yeah, pulling me forward. So yes.
Yeah, okay. So then how do we, so that's like the big picture. Big picture view is you write that stuff in service to others, which serves you, lights your field up, draws people to you, and then you go with your body sway. If someone comes to you and they want to work with you and your body's like, oh, hell no. You honor that, right? You don't book them because they're going to be a pain in your ass. They're not going to get any help and they're going to go tell people that you're terrible. Like you honor that. Yeah. Do you feel comfortable honoring that?
Um, okay, Sway says yes. It won't be easy.
It won't
Chronic
be.
people
Never.
pleaser.
Yeah.
Um, having said that, I can think of a couple of occasions now, not related to this, but in other things, where, so for example, when COVID, we came start coming out of COVID, and I was able to open up, and there was a few folks in different ways that I was working with that, to be
Yeah.
honest, said with love, I didn't want to go back there.
Yeah.
So I found ways to suggest that it's no longer the right fit, and that they need to
Yeah.
be something
Just
else.
gently
Yeah.
guide people on their path.
Um, so yeah, it'll be an interesting learning experience.
Yeah. 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 It's all practice. And this is all around communication. which you mentioned on your form. It's the ability to know how you feel, what you want, and to be able to ask for that
Mm.
clearly.
And therein lies
It's
the nub.
the tricky bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have content, we have a plan for creating content. We have a plan for generating, for getting questions that generate your flow through with ChatGPT. So the inspiration part. Another inspiration trick can be just to imagine those ideal clients and what they went through and what would you wish that they had known and then write that. There's all kinds of ways to do it. It's not, I mean, these are simple tricks. It's getting on the calendar to anchor it and
Mm.
then making it a game or bribing yourself or whatever you have to do to sit down and do it 30 minutes a week. Um, okay, and so then the other part is that communication starts to come and then the door gets slammed. And is that happening across the board? Like, is that how it happens in your relationships? Like you start to say something and you can't? Or, yeah, okay.
It, it all it all started. I have to be mindful because I'm not the only one in the house. Um,
Well, and this is
that
on YouTube too, don't forget.
yeah. Uh,
So hypothetically speaking, asking for a friend.
yeah. So um yeah, it all started when I would want to go and express or say something. Um and this was with people who were working for me you know,
Okay.
working for me as well. Um and I will literally feel my throat tighten up. And it started with me saying, I go and say something, and I literally feel like I'm strangling, like I'm throttling myself not
Yeah.
to say it. And with you
Yeah.
saying earlier that tightness up here,
Yeah.
this is where it all sits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can feel it. It's doing it again. Like it makes my jaw start to feel like it's going to
Is it
cramp.
roughly tonsil level by any chance?
Yeah. Okay. So when you think about that feeling, when's the first time you were aware of that process happening? At what age?
Um, this isn't something I remember. It's me going back through and getting my polls, but it comes up as four.
Okay. That's pretty typical.
I don't
Somewhere between
really,
3 and 5,
yeah.
um, 2 and 5. We really start to express our authentic opinions of things, and then the bigger people shut that down, sometimes violently, sometimes just verbally. Um, but your system learns that allowing that to come out your mouth equals some kind of injury.
Mm.
Does that make sense? Or does
Yeah,
that resonate?
it does with what I've been told, not um or how I've understood what's been told. Um, so not in a uh, nasty way, just in a distraction type. Um, so I've been told that when I was kind of brewing for like a bit of a paddy, bit of tantrum, I could be distracted, and just taken off. Whereas my brother,
Oh, I
I
remember
think
you
the
saying.
words were, we just had to let him get on with it.
Yeah,
Um, so, and I have, knowing that, I have become aware that when things get a bit, let's go and find something else over here to do.
sure. That's what you
And
were trained to
I
do.
am like an amazing distractor.
Why was your brother allowed to get on with it and you weren't?
Hmm.
Yeah, like what's the difference?
Hmm. Maybe I was going to say maybe they just couldn't distract him.
Oh, it's possible. Maybe he
I mean,
was louder.
I'm I'm aware that the we tend to fit into compliant and defiant roles.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Defiant one.
Yeah.
Um, in my experience, he is the defiant one. He might have another say on that, but yeah, maybe that's all it boiled down to, just personalities and who
Yeah.
we are.
So now when you go to say something, are you aware of like, are you saying something to yourself to stop? Are you warning yourself? Or is it just your throat starts closing and you can't get it out?
Um, Not aware of any self-talk around it. It's
Okay.
been a while now because, as I said, Mag suggested this is where I came across and came into cranial sacral therapy and done a lot more clearing. So still get that thickness, but not in a way that sort of prevents. I think now it's more of a what's the point in saying anything?
Well, sometimes that's true.
Because it's not, I don't feel it's heard.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you most need to say in your life right now that you're not saying?
Gosh, there's a biggie. Um, the word that's coming through is just needs.
Okay.
Um, and then part of me goes, but what are they? um, representing?
Okay.
Not sure.
Who's the person you most need to say these things to? Like there might be a whole laundry list, but who's the most powerful? Per-
Myself.
Yourself? Okay.
Like, I want to say take up space. That's not quite right, if that makes sense. But
No, it does make sense because it sounds to me like you don't want to live a distracted life anymore. You'd like to be present in your life.
I want to be present. Um, I want to have a lot more connection, although like with, well, myself, with others.
It's a
Um,
blessing and a curse.
yeah. Especially when I have like I sometimes feel like completely schizophrenic sometimes with the whole 2-4, because part of me is like, I want connection. I don't have to go away, leave me alone.
Yeah,
I'm like, I got
yeah.
that.
Well, you get to have both. If you can clearly communicate, you get to have both.
Both. Yeah. Um, yeah, just be more content with showing up.
Okay.
Like, um, I spent so well, I'm aware the years I'm aware of hiding, basically from again PhD, um, was going on way before that, because potentially I wouldn't have got into the situation I was in if I felt that I could ask
Okay.
and to express that I'm really struggling,
Okay.
um, and that kind of thing. Whereas I suppose I've prided myself on, well, I can do anything. I can do this all on my own. I don't need anyone's help. Um, and up until that point, didn't.
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
So if I can have like the fly on the wall perspective, if you're present and showing up in your life and I can observe you from a distance, what am I going to see that's different?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Okay.
No, what will you see was different? Um, Finding ways, well, like showing up business wise, being more visible, discoverable, not visible, discoverable. Um, and
So I
then,
might be able to observe that your blog is growing.
yeah.
That'd be an evidentiary thing I could point to.
Mhm.
She's showing up more in her business, and I can see that because there was no blog post. Now there's 20. What
Yeah.
else would you be seeing?
Um, Communicating and starting a process in terms of relationship that creates the connections that I want from it.
Okay, what's that look like?
Um, Wanting to sit and be able to explain, present my experience.
Okay. Even if that person invalidates your experience or says it's not that way.
That has happened, and
Mhm.
on the attempts that I have made,
Yeah.
um, and is a big possibility. Um, but at the same time, that tells me, that gives me information as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. If I want a cheeseburger, I have to go to a restaurant and directly say I want it. Or they're going to bring me a salad, which would gross me out. Right?
Yes.
Like, I have to say what I want so that that person can bring me what I want.
Hmm.
If I go order a cheeseburger and they bring me a salad, and I say, actually, I ordered a cheeseburger, and they go back and they bring me another salad, and this just keeps replicating itself, I don't eat at that restaurant anymore. I don't even go there. They can't hear me, they're not listening. This makes
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's really frustrating, and it's sad, and it can force you down the decision making road that maybe you never wanted to go down, but what other options do you have?
Mm.
Now, if it's a new waitress and she doesn't understand why I don't want a salad, or she thinks I should eat a salad, or she's a flippin' vegan, I hope you're not a vegan. If you are a vegan, I'm sorry. But if she's a vegan, it's like, no, no, you'll do better if you eat a salad. Um, that's another shade of that. That person is saying, no, I know what's best for you. So even though you ordered this, I'm going to bring you this.
Hmm.
And the other version and that there's not much hope there if that keeps happening.
Mm.
If you stay firm, if I stay firm in repeating my order and repeating my order, then if someone's capable and willing of learning to understand that, yes, they may think I need this, but I'm asking for that, and they
Hmm.
bring me that, then we're good.
Yeah.
That can take a little time. Or if they're new, or if they have a hearing problem or whatever. Like if there's change happening, if there's willingness and change can happen. But if that's going on consistently over and over and you've checked yourself for sometimes we think we're saying things clearly and we're not. If you've done all that and you're still getting a salad and you ordered a cheeseburger, that's a problem.
Continue the analogy. um, the order hasn't gone in because
Okay.
as the block is in
Okay.
expressing that
Yes,
and
that's different. Yeah.
little around. Okay, so part of it is I don't know what to order. There's
Okay.
um and then so the order hasn't gone in.
Yeah, because you don't know
um
what to order. That makes sense to me.
and then yeah, so nothing's changing until I decide what I want for my dinner.
Right.
Uh,
But when we reflect on it, we can decide is that a their problem or a me problem? It's
yeah.
it's a you problem.
And me right now
Yeah.
still a me
Yeah, right
problem.
now it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Um yeah.
So
And go on.
when you know what you don't want, yeah? You
Mm.
just don't know what you do want. Tell me what you don't want in relationships.
Um to feel that I'm on my own.
Okay. It's probably another reflection of early training. If
Mm.
you're distracted, then you're left on your own to deal with things that you don't have the capacity to deal with.
Mm.
So
Uh,
you don't like, so there's too many days spent laying in the field taking pictures of owls or in your left. Is that what's happening?
um, that can happen. Um
Okay.
even if so I am aware that I'm quite I don't know if independent's the right word anyway. So I'm not someone that can probably spend.
Self-sufficient?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so if I ended up spending a lot, like I would feel like hemmed
Sure.
in if I ended up with. So I need to be off and doing my own bits and bobs anyway.
Okay.
But at some point there needs to be some common ground. Or my sense of what that would be is there needs to be at least an aspect of life where there's movement forwards, whether that be like a long-term goal or something that's a shared
Okay.
thing. um Part of that is I struggle, if someone says to you, well, what do you want? I really struggle with that type of question.
Yeah.
um
It's okay. You can always start with what you don't want.
don't want. Yeah.
It's easier to find what you want when you make big long lists of what you don't want.
Mm.
That's not abnormal. It's just a communication style. It's very similar to needing to be asked a question before
Mm.
you can access information. That's just a type of intelligence that has to go at it in reverse. That's okay.
Mm. Um,
So it feels to me as you're talking that your system is thinking in terms of black and white, all or nothing. I either have so much connection that I'm claustrophobic or have so little connection that I'm super lonely and that there is no in between.
um, yeah, quite possibly. I'd not thought of it that way, but yeah. Um, yeah.
When we have squishy boundaries or we're not strong in our ability to say what we want and don't want on a daily basis and let that be really fluid, then we
Mm,
just won't open the door at all because the claustrophobia, the smothering is worse than the loneliness. Can deal with the loneliness and the independence and the self-sufficiency better than you can deal with saying, I know I asked for closeness, but this is too close.
because
Like,
the response I get to that is, well, it's what you asked
make up
for.
your mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like I have not in this kind of context, but in something else, work wise and
yeah.
life and stuff. I've had, well, you can't keep changing your mind. You can't keep.
You
And
actually can.
I can.
Yeah, you can and you
That's
will.
part of me. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's that too, right?
Yeah.
I want to be with you. Get the fuck away from me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in respecting
That's
that, we need people in our lives that get that and they're
mm,
okay with it. Like, hey, I we can't set a date night on Tuesday because Tuesday may get here and I may hate everyone and I need to be by myself.
mm,
But we can set a date night for once a week and you can trust me to honestly tell you if I want to spend time together and I have to trust you to honestly tell me if you're available for that.
mm,
So the commitment can be let's connect once a week just to start. But how it's similar to showing up for your writing, right? You make the
mm,
commitment to showing up, but how it happens has to be fluid, or you're going to feel trapped and then you're going to rebel and push against it.
mm,
So even though you ask for it, your system is self-protective in that loneliness is familiar and manageable. What feels like smothering is unknown territory, and you don't know how to deal with that.
mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So then that's the annoying and obnoxious part of having to say, oh, I have not known what I've wanted in a relationship, and I have some things now I'd like to try.
Mm,
I'd like to try some connection that might look like this, but I need you to hear me that I'm really experimenting because I just don't know. Are you willing to go on an adventure with me here?
mhm,
Exploring unknown territory. Are you willing to do that? Even though it might leave you feel whiplashed, leave you feeling whiplashed. Even though it might make me look flaky, can we
mm.
play with this? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Lots of things
Um,
make sense. But
yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know what part stops that starting to try and become a conversation.
well, it seems like fear.
Mm. Oh yeah, fear of rejection, isn't it? Being told
Oh yeah,
not.
fear of rejection and fear of smothering. Like I feel like someone was overbearing with you. Like smothering, like too much attention. Like it feels like a wet blanket gets thrown over you and you just end up like smothering is the word that keeps coming to mind. But
Mm.
it's like this energy starts to flow and then like a fire starts to burn, someone throws a fire blanket on it and just smothers it. And that sensation of smothering is terribly risky, but then, and also there's that fear of I'm going to say this and I risk losing the relationship as soon as this comes out of my mouth.
Mm. Hmm.
Relationships are horrible.
Who'd have you?
So the rewards have to be there or we can't keep going in them and be healthy.
Yeah.
You don't want a
Yeah.
roommate relationship. And lots of people have that because they can't take that risk of I don't know if this is true for you or not, but some people would rather have what they have than take the risk of having nothing.
Uh, it's definitely an ongoing debate in my mind.
Okay.
Um, I wouldn't I wouldn't want that to be the case. Um, the number of times I've thought I'd be better off on my own
Yeah.
because then I'd feel I've got freedom to go off and do or um yeah, like and then it opens the door that if you are on your own, there's the possibility of I don't want to say getting having better because but you know that
Yeah.
option. Um, and it seems a shame, but lost my thread. Um,
Well, it is a shame if there's any love there or any caring or hope. Um, if the other person hasn't really been given a chance to step up.
yeah, that's definitely been part of what I feel I want to
Yeah.
do. And I'm no like I'm pretty sure a whole load of crap can be leveled at me as well. Um, my responsibility in it all. I just can't get past that, whatever this
Okay.
line is. Does that make sense?
Yes. So what would be the first thing you'd need to say? Well, first of all, just take a moment to give yourself a gold star or something for even having the courage to try and address this because a lot of people don't. Because it is painful and it takes practice. And the first few times you do it, you're going to break out in a sweat and want to throw up. And your hands are going to sweat and it's going to be gross and horrible. But you're
Mm.
doing it anyway. And so just acknowledge that. This is not easy and you're here doing it. You're doing the work, you're doing the hard stuff. So pat on the back for that. So what's the first thing that you're going to have to say if you want this to be different?
Um, can't even find words. I suppose we'll just try and start with asking where he's at and
Mhm.
what his experience is.
Yeah.
Because I highly, being presumptuous, I highly suspect that it's not even if he's aware on any
Probably
level,
not.
it's not conscious. It's not
Probably
conscious.
not.
No,
Yeah. Uh,
it's the
at
part
the
of me
risk of
that
being sexist, most men don't know when there's a problem, and they're really, really shocked when something comes up.
Mm,
Not to say that that's going to be true for him, but it's a
no.
fairly common, like, what? I thought
Mm.
we were fine.
Yeah, somebody might have been. Um, yeah.
What
And I
would
can,
it
you
feel
can allude
like
to
to
a
keep
couple
it
of
on
times.
you? What would it feel like to keep it on you? Like, not to open it with deferring to him.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
So
deferral. Yeah.
it's that's how it has to be, isn't it? It's me, it's my experience, it's
It's you're the one
my
that has a problem. It's
yeah,
your problem.
exactly.
It's not a problem for him. Or that we know of. We don't even know.
Mhm.
You're the one who has the discontent.
Yeah.
So you have to be the one to say, I want something and I don't even know what it is. Can I talk to you about it?
Mm.
I sometimes feel extremely lonely. And yet I also am afraid to have more connection because I'm also afraid of drowning in someone else. I'm afraid of losing myself. And also, I want to be closer to you. I don't know how to resolve that. Like, it's just the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to go lay in a field at the crack of dawn taking pictures of deer or whatever. But maybe, have you ever wanted me to go? Like, I don't even know. Can we
Yeah.
just open the door to this conversation?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Does that feel feasible?
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. What is there's a but and I don't know what the but is.
That's okay. We have time.
Um, the feels like something stuck solar plexus level.
Okay, so you open that conversation and what's the solar plexus reacting to? Because we're just talking about talking,
Mm.
and your solar plexus is like, oh shit, right? What's that oh shit about?
Ground my feet a second. There we go. Right. Fear.
Of,
Next question. Hang on. Hurt. Not mine.
okay,
Mm.
if you hurt someone else, are you going to get in trouble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. That's happened before.
Yeah, yeah. And also, it's not, we know this logically that the other person's reaction is their responsibility, not ours. But so let's say you do, and this person gets hurt, and you feel terrible about it. How do you handle that?
Um, well, in the past, um, I have shut me down and comforted.
Yes.
More recently, I've felt like an absolute shitbag, but I have been able to s- stay distant, like stay. When I say distant, as in not distance myself, but not
Objective?
and do the whole.
Yeah, yeah,
It's going to be okay.
yeah.
Um, I have done that once. I felt I wanted to. On another occasion, it was because I was angry as hell, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
yours. Deal with it."
yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So, in your imagination, imagine that you say to whoever it is, really, because this is common across all relationships.
Mm.
You say to them, you know, I've had a lot of stuff on my mind and I want to talk about it. I want you to know, you know, you're not in trouble. Like you just preface it because immediately we're all going to be like, oh, what the hell? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's
Well,
about to hit me? Like, and then we like freeze up and then the
exactly. It's like, how do you even like,
yeah,
even
you
if
say,
you take
yeah,
time to have a conversation,
totally without
like
making
the alarm bells are already up, aren't they?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can acknowledge that. The worst thing supervisors do is they leave a note on an employee's desk that says, "Come and see me when you get back from lunch."
Mhm.
It's the worst, right? Because you're like, "Well, am I about to get a pink slip? Like, what happened?" Most of the time, it's not that they just really need to tell you something and they want to make sure they see you, but we
Yeah.
immediately feel like we're going to die. So you just preface it with that. You say, I know that when people say we need to talk, it's usually a really bad thing. But I do need to talk, and it's not a bad thing. And
Mm.
I love you, and everything's fine. I want it to be more fine. Like I've got some stuff going on in me. It's just weighing on my mind all the time, and it's me. It's about me, and everything's fine. Like everything's okay, and I mean that. And also, I just need to get some stuff off my chest. Is now a good time? Like, can we talk right now? Do you want to take a walk? Um, you know, would it be better to, you know, do you want to talk on Monday? Like,
Mm.
when would be a good time? Just, and I really want you to hear me that everything is fine. I just need to talk to you about my stuff.
Yeah. Mm.
You can't go wrong when you're being authentic. We go wrong when we're trying to soften our message or we manipulate each other, right? We want to say it, we want to control their emotions. So we want to say it just perfectly so they don't get upset and we don't
Mm.
feel like we're going to get in trouble and this whole yicky thing, you know. But when you're saying authentically the truth, I love you, I care about you, I love our relationship and also got some stuff on my mind has nothing to do with you. It's me processing some stuff and trying to do things differently. And can I talk to you about that? Do you have time right now? Like, is now, and then you go with, is now a good time?
Mm.
So they don't feel like, you know, they're changing the oil in the car and now you want to have a heart to heart and they don't know what to do, you know, or he's processing films or whatever, or photos or
Yeah.
whatever.
Hmm.
So you create safety for them is also you owning the power and creating safety for yourself.
Mm.
And then establishing a time. I think I need about 30 minutes. Is now okay? Or do you want to take a walk? A lot of people do better talking on a walk or
You're just side by side, aren't you?
side by side, especially men.
Mm.
You better go in a shoot pool or play a game of hoops or whatever golf, whatever, you know, outdoor activity you can do. But it can go easier if there's activity with it.
Mm. Mm.
Car therapy, going on a drive. Gas is so expensive here that there's none of that happening, but
Yeah, yeah, it's a day when the price of the water at the petrol station is cheaper than the fuel.
right, right. You could practically buy a kidney off eBay for less than a tank of gas or petrol. Um,
Yeah.
so let's say you do that, you preface it, you set it up, you ask for their time, for their focus. Like I want you to focus. I want to be heard. You say exactly what you want. I want to be heard. And I may struggle with saying it right. So I might say it imperfectly and have to say it again. Just you're just letting them know and setting the time so that they can be available. And then that person says, "What?"
Mm.
Or, what do you even want to talk about? Like, what's this about? You're like, well, I just told you. You don't say it like that. But you can say, it's about me. It's about me growing. I'm doing all this stuff. I feel like I'm not the greatest communicator and I want to get better at it. Can we talk about that?
Mm.
Chances are that's going to go pretty well, even if it is imperfect.
Mm.
And then, like you said earlier, if it doesn't, that's good information to have. But you still stayed integrity with yourself.
Yeah.
When you think about doing it that way, what happens in your stomach or your solar plexus?
It's softened.
It's just the truth.
Mm. Mm.
Even when truth is uncomfortable, even painful, because it's truth, it's clean pain, not dirty pain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I've not come across it like that, but yeah, I can go with that.
Yeah. Dirty pain is tangled up in our childhood stuff and our tendency to want to control the conversation. And
Mm.
truth is, it just is what it is. It's not perfect, it's messy. You
Mm.
don't have skills because you haven't had practice. You're afraid of this, but you want this. Like just dumping out the truth.
Mm.
That's refreshing.
Mm.
It's good for you. And
Mm.
what they do with it, they do with it.
Yeah.
Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. But just you doing that for you, that opens some big doors.
Yeah. And it's I mentioned the layers of onions and on a different conversation, didn't I? And it just feels like it's this is the nub now. Does that make sense? This is
Yes.
the middle. This is what it's all been. We've been clearing layer after layer after layer after layer after the last couple of
Yeah.
years, and this is now the sticking point. This is the
Yeah.
ledge. Um, and
It's the transformation point.
yeah,
This is
and
the shit or get off the pot point. It's like, hey, man, crossroads moment. I
mm,
go left and I continue the life I've been living, or I turn right and maybe break some stuff, but at least I'm living the life that's closer to what I want. It's one step closer. It will help you to make a long list before opening a conversation of what you don't want.
yeah, sit down, have a proper
Yeah. Like
sit.
what? You have to have a starting point. So I think I want m- more vulnerable conversations, or I think I want 2 hours of your time to go thrift shopping or whatever you like to do. Go to a bookstore, have some coffee and talk or whatever. I think that's what I want. Would you be willing to try that, knowing that it might turn out that that's not what I want? Do you have to start somewhere?
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
I might want it this time, but not next time. I don't know. It's a mystery.
Flip flop. Okay.
Right. I'm a flip-flopper. I run hot and cold. You know that. He knows that already, I'm sure. It can be helpful to run his human design chart. So you know, do I ask yes, no questions or should I ask open-ended questions? No. What is,
My-
have you, Can you feel the power in that, though, taking control of your life and your need to express yourself authentically?
Yeah.
It's the only thing in the way of your writing, too.
Mhm.
It is the
Yeah.
core of it.
Yeah.
You have a right to claim your truth, and you have a right to say whatever your body is telling you to say, even when it's difficult, even when it's painful, even if it makes you break out in a sweat. That doesn't go on forever. You've learned things before that they're difficult in the beginning, and then you just get used to it, and it's not a thing anymore. But this thing, learning this thing and moving through all those layers of discomfort and practice sets you free for the rest of your whole life.
Yeah.
And you can do it because you've been doing the work. You've been excavating and unpeeling and, learning to tolerate discomfort and now going a little deeper and a little deeper. And this is probably the biggest, most painful thing you'll ever do, but it's also the biggest, most profound thing you'll ever do.
Yeah. Feel that. Mm.
There's a book called, um, it's by Janine Roth, Geneen. Last name is Roth, and I think it's My Messy Magnificent Life or Our Messy. Have you seen it? Do you know it?
No, but that title just sounds right up my street.
Right? We can all relate to that. Janine Roth is an absolutely brilliant writer for being able to hold our ridiculousness and our absolute glorious selves in the same space. Like we're just petty little bitches. We're also people who are on a mission to help other people feel better in their lives. It's like noble and naughty, but it's hard to hold those things, right?
Yeah.
She's wonderful about de-shaming our ability to just say our ridiculous truth.
Mm. Yeah, on that.
It's a great book. She has tons of books. She writes books about her eating disorder, but it applies to everything.
Mm.
So what else? Or what questions do you have? We've gone over, but
Think we've think we've
I think we've covered the entire
there's
spectrum.
nothing else left. This is it.
Right. Well, this is the big next step,
Yeah.
which I know you can do. But for accountability's sake,
Mhm.
when if you don't pick a date, it will just recede into the background again. So when do you want to open the doors to that conversation?
Um, is the beginning of July too vague?
It's a little
Um,
long.
July. Because
It's
like
like a
what the
week.
isn't it? I feel like
If you give yourself a week, that's fine, as long as you're spending that week rehearsing.
yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to
That's
sit
fine.
that list and I
I
need to
feel like because you're an action taker, now that you know what action to take, you are gonna do it. No, I think you will. I don't think it's going to be easy. But let's say, yeah, the beginning of July, and in between there, you're going to rehearse it and feel the discomfort in your body and work through it. You're going to make lists of long lists of things you don't want to that are private to you to help you discover what you do want as far as you know.
Mm.
What I want, what I think I want, what I want to try. Um,
Yeah, because that's going to take some thought as well.
Oh, yeah, it totally will. So it's a great exercise to do. And then when you get the list of what you do want, how much does it matter to you if you get it or not? Then you can assess, like, what do I really, really, really want?
Mm. Ah, Sorry, there's somebody on the stairs.
Oh, it's okay. Um, okay, and so then you just know it's going to be horrible, and
Hmm.
you just plan for that, and you do all your exercises, and then you do the thing,
Yeah,
even if you have to gag it.
most likely.
Yeah, maybe so. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay,
it's all good.
good for now.
Decompress. Yes.
We
Thank you.
even if you read a whole book with this session, right? My journey from
Uh,
um,
well, you've got another project. You could write another thing on it. So.
choking to communication, from choking to communication.
Oh no, choking. I've got a title now. Don't.
Yeah,
I've never had an inkling to write a book, and now like I've got a title. What the hell?
right, right. Get going.
We'll start with the blogs first, I think.
I think so. That's a good blog post title. Throw that into ChatGPT. Here's my ideal client. I tell you this title. What do you say in response? Easy,
Just like that.
just like that.
And it will be. It will be. One day it will be.
One day soon.
Yeah, sooner rather than later. Defo.
Sure. So you're good for now?
I am. Yes, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay. Well, I don't
Yes.
envy you, but I have gone through that myself, and I know that you can do it, and I know that you will do it.
Mhm.
Because it's easy to look at your life and go, once you know what to do, you will do it. And you have a mission to accomplish, and this is in your way. So,
Most definitely. Yeah.
all
Cracking.
right. I will see you
Okay.
Saturday or Wednesday,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Someday, a couple of times this week. Okay. All right. Bye for now.
Yes, thanks very much. Have a great day.
Yeah,
Cheerio.
you
Bye.
too.